We're on round two here, and we have another amazing group that has joined us today. So Southwest Airlines is in the house, folks. So Manzel Chapman for Southwest Airlines, would you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what it's like to work at Southwest?
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm super excited to be here with you guys. So thank you so much for having me. Well, my name is Menzel, but people call me Manzi. I'm currently a talent acquisition specialist for the most loved airline, as you can see from my background. But I've been with the company for about 5 years, and I can definitely say the organization has truly saved my life. When you think of an airline, most people just think of, airplanes and that's about it. But at Southwest Airlines, it's so much more than that. Our purpose is to connect people to what's important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost travel, but also being the most loved airline. And we are able to do that by treating people with respect. Um, we have the heart as our logo for a reason because we not only treat our customers with love, but we also treat our people. We have what's called the golden rule, which is putting its people first, because you can't make your customers happy if you're not happy, right? So that begins by treating everyone the way that they want to be treated, by just being your authentic self. And this company started off as the underdog. We started off on a cocktail napkin, and now we're one of the most loved airlines out there for 51 years.
Absolutely awesome. Okay, what does your t-shirt say?
It stands
Sorry, I
for
know this is
every.
not one of the questions, but I have to ask.
Oh gosh, girl, it's totally fine. We can improv all the things. It's every single one of us. That's our DE&I slogan, and it's the Pride shirt. So we have we have 7 different shirts. So this is the Pride one because we don't just focus on one specific group. We focus on everyone because it takes every single one of us to build a better world.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
what types of roles are you currently looking for? So, obviously, you have a booth. What roles are you
Mhm.
currently hiring for right now?
Yeah, it's such an exciting time here at Southwest Airlines because we hired over 18,000 people last year, and we're not going to slow down anytime soon. So right now we're currently hiring for airport operations, which are those dedicated folks that are the first faces that our customers see when they fly our airplanes. These people thrive in fast-paced environments. What's so special about this division is because you don't necessarily need, the fanciest degree or that fanciest experience. We're seriously looking for the heart. So we are hiring for ramp agents, customer service agents, operation agents, and supervisory roles from all over. In addition, we also have some corporate and technology positions, but we have a lot of hiring within our frontline positions.
Awesome. Very cool. And tell me, you mentioned the Pride group, but tell me a little bit about what diversity, equity, and inclusion really means to Southwest Airlines and why it's
Mhm.
important.
Oh gosh. As I mentioned, the culture of Southwest Airlines has truly saved my life. And I'll try not to go on a tangent because I always ramble doing this part, but it's mainly due to the company's emphasis on DE&I, which is what truly saved my life personally. Before I joined Southwest Airlines, I was going through just a difficult point in my life. I was broke, I was insecure about myself, and I was always just coping with substances to not feel anything because I never felt a sense of acceptance, not just professionally, but also personally, especially with being a gay male. And I needed just to make a change. And I decided to kind of finally just face my fears by going through the world sober, which sounds silly for some, but when you talk to anyone in recovery, it makes sense. But I remember my first time walking into Southwest headquarters for my interview because I always thought the pictures you see on the website were just actors or they got paid to look that way to be happy. But when I went into Southwest Airlines, that is what generally how everyone looks. during this time, I was 3 months sober, and the number one thing that I wanted to be was just to be happy. And seeing a work environment where everyone was happy, it just made me realize I wanted to be there. So just fast forward to 5 years later, which is now, the reason why I am happy is because the company really, really puts its people first. And that starts by recognizing, respecting, and valuing everyone's differences, which is what helped me remain sober for these last 5 years. And I can truly say that I am happy, which is so exciting. Um, in 2020, there was a lot of racial injustice in the world, and many companies kind of began making DE&I an importance and incorporating it in their values. However, at Southwest Airlines, it's always been an importance for over 10 years, and we've had our DE&I team created back in 2013. And DE&I is important when your very own CEO makes DE&I a priority, not just for 1 year, but for the next 5 years and going forward. It truly is a primary focus. And that's one of the reasons why we're so successful, is because everyone is just able to work well together and just, I don't know, just be their authentic selves. And we value like one's differences and opinions and the way that everyone thinks. It's more than just having a sign that says Happy Pride Month. At Southwest, we put our heart into action by making folks just aware of our cultural observances by, hosting events, encouraging those courageous conversations, and just making sure our recruiters, our hiring managers, our leaders are aware of our DE&I goals, and just to ensure that we're not biased, in the interview, and making sure that we have a diversified, not just a diversified, work group, but also a diversified leadership team.
Awesome. So
Sorry, I kind of rambled a little bit there.
No, that was great. Well, first of all, congratulations on 5 years. That is awesome.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
You have a fan club in the Q&A group right now. So
oh my God, really?
those of you, I've just been told that everyone needs to follow Manzi on LinkedIn, because your posts every morning make it easier to get out of bed and job hunt. So keep motivating us. So yeah.
I'm currently on one screen right now, so I can't see
no, you're good. You're
everything
good.
else. So that means the world. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, you have a fan club going on here. They love the shirt, and obviously you as well bring so much joy to this conversation. So tell me about some programs. Like, what do you all have in place? What are you doing to actually create that inclusive culture, to create that space where you can be yourself? I love what you just said about people, walking through the office and seeing people smiling. I think that like, it seems like such a simple thing, but it makes such a difference. But what programs, what are the things that you have in place to really focus on that inclusive culture?
Well, let me tell you, we have so much here. Oh my gosh. But like I mentioned, it's more than just, putting up a sign that says Happy Pride Month. We don't just walk the walk. We really do talk to talk with the many programs that we have in place, just to ensure that the employees just feel loved, supported, and celebrated. So I'm currently a member of our Diversity Council. And the Diversity Council, it's a 2-year commitment where we collaborate, celebrate differences, and we actually leverage diversity to kind of enhance the organization's performance. We have cohorts from different departments, divisions, races, genders, sexual orientation, cultures, just to ensure that we're able to kind of capture the true sense of Southwest Airlines, and just hearing stories on what's going on from different divisions of the organization. And we do that to try to promote change if there are any negatives. The environment, like in my setting, I work in a corporate setting. The environment in the corporate setting is completely different from the frontline setting. And I say that because our cohorts, they see things differently. For instance, I am in the recruiting space, and what I see from my day to day is different from a ramp agent or customer service agent's day to day. So it's so important to like have a group where we can hear about just all of our experiences and finding ways to foster inclusivity for all. We also have employee resource groups. These groups were formed by employees that operates under the approval of Southwest Airlines. We have ERGs for Blacks, Hispanics, Asian Pacific, women, military, the LGBTQ community, for disability as well. We also also have a diversity recruiting team, which is amazing. So give a shout out to Janelle Rayford. She is one of our diversity managers for talent acquisition, who is phenomenal. But as you know, DE&I starts with us recruiters, because we are the first step in the process of kind of getting into the company. And our recruiting, our diversity recruiting team, they do such an incredible outreach to areas who may not be getting the same resources that other areas where they can afford it. I know last year alone, our DE&I recruiting team, they hosted over 75 hiring events, I think. And we also hired over 350 new hires from those events. So
Wow.
they created an awesome training program where our leaders and hiring managers and recruiters, they're required to take this training course to avoid any bias in the interview process. I'm encouraging those courageous conversations with your teams and just making sure that we have that diverse candidate slate in our pipelines before we begin the interview process, to make sure that we're fair for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to switch
Yeah,
gears just a little bit. So for the job seekers that are listening in, what is
yeah.
your advice on what questions? And I mean, obviously, just as well as I do that it's not a one-way conversation when you're interviewing with a company. It's, you are also interviewing them as a candidate.
Mhm.
So what are the things that job seekers should be asking of the company to really understand if they will be good within that culture and aligned to the values of the organization?
Ooh, that's a really good question. And it's a question that I honestly wish someone could have told me when I was applying for a job, when I was kind of getting into the workforce. Because when I started applying for jobs, I only paid attention to the pay and not the company values or culture, which in the long run ended up with me in a company that only cared about, the numbers, but not just the employee. But I would definitely say I'll always advise when, asking about culture in your interview, to bring up, the company's purpose and values and how that ties within the company culture, especially with how much the company gives back to the community, if they give back to the community at all. A company will not thrive without culture. Rather, it's through celebrating one another, giving back to the community, or celebrating one's cultural differences. At Southwest, we have so much celebrations that are solely for our employees. And from the back end, it may seem like, why are they putting so much emphasis on our employees? But if there is no culture, there is no meaning. There's no passion, and there's no heart at that job. And while everyone needs, a job to pay the bills, a job should be more than just a paycheck. The job becomes a part of you. And if you feel worthless at your job, you will eventually think that you are worthless. And you shouldn't be like that. A company should be meaningful so you can feel loved and appreciated. Therefore, it's super important to ask that in your interview. And it's okay to ask it about company culture and how much they give back. And I always say, if they give a sassy look after you ask that question, maybe that's not the right company for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Very good. And so this is actually a question from the Q&A.
Yeah.
What's the most exciting DNI or DEI goal Southwest and their people are looking forward to in 2023? Go Manzi! Exclamation point. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such, well, whoever who put that, go you as well. The number one goal that we are striving for is to diversify our our top leadership team, because, I'll be completely honest, if you look at our leaderboard, you can tell that everyone kind of looks the same, which is not, a bad thing. But the reason why we implement all these programs and the importance of DE&I is we want to make sure that we're providing a fair advantage to everyone. And we are really big on diversifying our leadership. I'm not saying that our current leadership is doing anything wrong. They are actually phenomenal. They got us through the pandemic. And unless you were living under a rock, they got us through one of our most challenging points that happened earlier this year. But one of the biggest things is diversifying our leadership, and that's through our outreach programs and making sure that we have certain criteria in our leadership pipelines before beginning the interview process. So it's super, super exciting because diversity is extremely important, especially in a leadership realm, to ensure that we're getting all types of thought with those big, big leadership decisions.
Awesome. Very cool. So you have a booth today and you are hiring. And so of everyone, I encourage you to go over to the Southwest Airlines booth, virtual booth, I should say, and definitely bring your questions, bring your resumes, bring all of the things. And Manzi is excited to talk to all of you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Any last words you want to tell any applicants that are coming to visit you today?
Yeah, I definitely want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this time with you guys for the past week. But I definitely want to say, just be fearless, be you, and never be afraid to be yourself. And the one thing that we all have in common in this world is vulnerability. So don't think that you have to be the most perfect person, you know. The number one thing that we all have in common is showing raw emotion. I'm not saying that you go up to a recruiter and start bawling your eyes out or like that, but just be yourself and don't be afraid to ask those questions, because no question is a stupid question. But I wish everyone all the love, stay positive, and if you do get that rejection, don't take that into heart. It will only make you stronger because you are stronger than you know.
Awesome. All right. That's a mic drop moment. So I'm going to let that one, that's where we're going to end. Thank you so much, Manzi, and everyone head over to the Southwest Airlines booth. Thanks so much. And we'll see you all in just a few minutes. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.